Right, welcome guys. Alien Earth is over, but we are now getting a lot of articles such as this. Alien Earth Sydney Chandler on creating the Xenomorph language. The script just said Wendy opens her mouth and speaks to aliens. So it sounded, on the paper, as absurd as it looked. Good times. Right, look. Alien Earth, it's gone now, it's finished. Whether it's going to continue or not remains to be seen. I've got on good authority that it's probably going to at least get season 2. We will wait and see. We'll check it out. We'll wait. But one of the most contentious things about this series, whether you loved or hated it, was the fact that she could talk to the Xenomorphs. And it's interesting because Noah Hawley did come out and say, hey, actually, you know, she's only doing what she thinks is the language. It's like, right, no, she was talking to it. Like, she was talking to it. Like, we see that in... I mean, it wasn't by accident. She commanded it to do things and it did it. It was really odd. Like, the interviews that came out when the episode dropped where this happened, the initial talking... The interviews seemingly indicated, although it's a misdirect, that what we saw wasn't the case. And maybe the Xenomorph was going to go mental and kill Wendy eventually. But no, none of that. No, it just looked like she was talking to it. Bloody dumb thing. Never mind. I liked what he said in the interviews. I liked it because that made sense. She thinks she's talking to the Xenomorph. She's doing what she thinks is the language. Yeah, that's fine. No, she did it in the end. So, good times. Anyway, let's take a look at this. I think this is an interesting article. Or interview, should I say. Please do hit subscribe if you're new here and turn those bell notifications on. So, as it says here, one of the most controversial or thrilling, depending on how you look at it, aspects of FX and Hulu's Alien Earth is that, for the first time on film, at least, the Xenomorphs are talking. Specifically, Wendy, the synth with a human consciousness at the centre of the show, has been somehow hearing the Xenomorph since the premiere. And once the scientists at the Prodigy Corporation realised that, they began to wonder if she could communicate with them as well. Well, she could. Wendy isn't just hearing the Xenomorphs, she's conversing with them. That isn't what they said. That isn't what Noah Hawley said. That isn't what he said. And like Ripley 8, in Alien Resurrection, this raises a lot of questions about how much the iconic movie monsters are unstoppable, drone-like killers versus independent, thinking beings. But the follow-up question there is, if Wendy can speak Xenomorph, is there a whole alien language associated? I fucking hope not. Is speaking Xeno going to be the next hot thing on Duolingo? I hate IGN. Well, no, not exactly. When IGN reached out to FX for some answers, we were told plainly that there was no Xenomorph linguist on set, nor is there one credited in the show, but that doesn't mean Chandler spontaneously created a new alien language on her own, nor is she making exactly the clicking and trilling you hear on screen when Wendy's doing her deadly Dr. Dolittle impression. So, apparently it was a big team effort doing this whole language thing. So, what they said was the following. Linguistics is a little bit like math, Frommer explained. Recalling that before he was hired for the Avatar gig, he was giving grammatical problem sets to his classes in Klingon. The first part of the equation is how the creatures you're crafting a language for communicate. For the Na'vi, Cameron told Frommer that the aliens were roughly similar in vocal production to humans, as he didn't want any electronic manipulation of the speech, as you'll see, almost the opposite of how Alien Earth tackled the Xenomorphs. So, just why go to such effort for this crap? Such a lame thing to include as well. Like, of all the things you're going to put effort into, you put it into this. Should have spent more time on the alien costume, for God's sake. So what Frommer did next was come up with the base sounds the Na'vi would use. English, for example, said Frommer, has about between 40 to 45 different basic sounds. Consonants and vowels. I'm not talking about letters of the alphabet, I'm talking about sounds. Once you have the sounds, you need to figure out how they interact, which can take the form of words or other common elements As an example, Frommer mentioned how water, which is all one thing, is different from singer, which is both the sing element and the element. And expanding further, Frommer explained that most well-versed English speakers will have 40,000 words in rotation or so, while the English language itself contains nearly 500,000 words. With the Na'vi language, Frommer started slightly smaller, making sure he was able to translate all the words in the script. But since the success of the movie, he's become the main contact for fans looking to expand their vocabulary, not to mention the additional movies in the franchise, all the way through Avatar 5, which is on the books, according to Frommer. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. What did they say? A bird can say, "I'm a red-throated warbler," or something like that, Frommer explained. It can identify itself as a particular kind of bird. It can't say, "This is my territory, you other guys." Oh, it can also say, "This is my territory, you other guys leave." Or it can say, "I'm really horny and I'm looking for a mate." But beyond that, it can't construct new messages. As for bugs, probably not even that level of communication. If they're going to go the route of real language, referring to the production of Alien Earth, what I hope is they're going to hire a linguist who's going to be able to put together these elements. Are there different kinds of screeches, different kinds of squeals and rubbings and whatever? And if so, can they be combined in new ways, the way we combine words into different orders? Well, yeah, apparently they didn't, I don't know, they didn't really do much. So bizarre. Apparently there's 3 pieces. You've got the sounds that Wendy originally hears when she starts hearing the Xenos talking to her. Then you have her language, where she starts speaking back to the Xenos, and you have the actual Xenos vocalizing themselves. So you have 3 different things going on that all need to sound different from each other, but also need a common through line to where it feels like it's from the same creature. In fact, one of the first things Gilmore and showrunner Noah Hawley discussed was what they came to call Wendy echoes, aka the Xenomorph voices in her head. One idea that kept coming back to was ASMR, having it tickle your eardrums and almost be painful at times. And as they discussed further, they struck on the idea that the Xenomorphs' communication might be similar to echolocation, as they don't have eyes. Well, but they kind of do. We've seen that before as well. But they just... why spend so much time on this? Needless shit. It's an idea that has been explored before, just not specifically on screen in the Alien movies themselves. The Weyland-Yutani Archives, a bonus feature on the AVP Requiem Blu-ray release, speculates about how the Xenomorphs might communicate. The Alien Queen seems to be able to direct and control the Xenomorph drones in Aliens, and in the 1989 comic Alien Nightmare Asylum and 1990 comic Aliens Earth War, Mark Verheiden posited that the aliens might communicate through dreams, or rather, nightmares. But when approaching Alien Earth, in terms of how it all worked, the production wanted to start with a clean slate. Because why wouldn't you? With a script, it just said, Wendy opens her mouth and she speaks to aliens. Which was quite daunting, because what does that look like? Chandler recalled. And then start from scratch approach also applied to Gilmore, who had previously worked on sound design for Alien Romulus. Noah really wanted to make this his own thing. Well done, mate. He wanted to have its own sonic language while still honouring the legacy sounds of 79. It was really important to me personally not to reuse anything from Romulus. Well done. Just move further away from any semblance of stuff that we know. Don't worry about it, I guess. Who cares? Gilmore added, while having the palette in my head from working on the theatrical feature certainly helped, simply reusing the Romulus Xenomorph sounds would have felt cheap. Instead, they started from scratch. Mostly before she even left her home in Texas, Chandler was already spending time thinking about the alien sounds, and she took inspiration from an appropriate place, bugs. We have a lot of cicadas out here, so I left my phone outside for an hour at night time and just recorded the sounds of the cicadas and crickets. I found this really beautiful fluctuation from the sounds. They rise and fall really beautifully and eerily. And so I would listen to that a few times before I found my groove with the alien language. But that was helpful too. There's a melody to the language of insects, which I felt very much coalesces with the sound of the aliens. there's an insectile chirping, trilling that is obviously inhuman. So that was helpful too. We really focused on chittery, insect-type sounds. They just made them bugs. When I worked on Romulus, I started messing with the idea of what if these Xenos had insect layers to their vocals. Because I always loved, in Aliens 86, you establish a queen and drones, and they have this hive mentality. And so let's start throwing some cicadas in there, and crickets that have been manipulated, slowed down, sped up, all that kind of thing. So we started messing with that. Crickets, frogs, anything that had that tickly sound to your ears. This is just lame. They really just went way too in on this. When this was... They should have spent way more time on the alien design. Making that not look so derpy. Oh, God. I don't have much else to kind of say in here. There's this. What will the two do together? It's a very scary notion. Or which one's stronger? There could be a power play there. Oh. No one cares. Anyway, this is super, super lame. And, yeah, well worth covering. Because, good lord, they spent a lot of time and effort on this. Needlessly so. Because I don't think it was the thing that most people enjoyed. But alright, never mind. What do you guys think? What do you think of Alien Earth? Let me know down below.